What if the tribes were never lost, just waiting to be revealed?
Lost tribes of Israel discovered. Uncover the shocking evidence hidden for centuries. Imagine yourself seated by a quiet hearth. The soft crackle of the fire blending with the gentle hum of a distant world. Tonight, we embark on a journey through time. A story woven into the fabric of ancient history, yet alive with meaning for our modern age. The tale of the lost tribes of Israel is one of mystery, prophecy, and divine promise narrative that stretches from the sun-scorched hills of the Promised Land to the farthest corners of the earth. What if I told you that 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel, once united under the golden reign of King David, vanished into the mists of history? Scattered by conquest, their identities blurred, yet never truly lost. Today, from Ethiopia to India, Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, voices rise, claiming descent from these ancient tribes. Could their reappearance signal the fulfillment of prophecies written millennia ago? In this exploration, we'll walk through the rhythm of their lives, uncover the stories of their scattering, and ponder the profound significance of their return. Let the weight of the day slip away as we step into the ancient world of Israel, a world of promise, rebellion, and hope. Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the story unfold. Daily life immersion. Life in a northern kingdom of Israel. Imagine yourself standing on a dusty hill in the northern kingdom of Israel. Around 800 BCE, the air is warm, carrying the scent of olive groves and freshly baked barley bread. Below, the land stretches out in a patchwork of fields and villages, where the 10 tribes of Israel, Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, and Manasseh live out their days under the shadow of a fractured kingdom. The rhythm of their lives is steady, shaped by the land, the seasons, and their covenant with God. Each morning begins with the bleating of goats and the low hum of activity. Families rise early, their homes simple structures of mud, brick, and stone, roofs flat and often adorned with drying figs or herbs. The men set out to tend fields from plowing with wooden tools tipped with bronze. Women knead dough in clay ovens, the smoky aroma mingling with the tang of fermenting wine stored in earthen jars. Children scamper through narrow village paths, chasing one another or helping to gather kindling. Life here is a constant dance with the land, planting in the cool months, harvesting under the relentless sun, and praying for rain to soften the parched earth. The tribes are distinct, yet bound by shared customs. Each has its own territory, its own character, as foretold by Jacob in Genesis 49. Ephraim and Manasseh, sons of Joseph, hold fertile lands and are seen as leaders among the tribes. Their influence felt in the bustling city of Samaria. Dan, in the north, is smaller, its people known as skilled seafarers and traders. Their markets alive with goods from Phoenicia. Asher's lands, rich with olive oil, hum with the press of stone mills. Yet, despite these differences, a common thread binds them: their identity as God's chosen people, marked by the covenant of circumcision, the keeping of the Sabbath, and the annual pilgrimage to worship at altars dedicated to the Lord. But the rhythm of their lives is not without tension. The northern kingdom, formed after the split from Judah under King Solomon's son Rehoboam, is a place of political unrest. Kings rise and fall, often through betrayal or bloodshed, lives cut short in the struggle for power. The people to face hardship. Droughts can wither crops, leaving families to ration their stores of grain. Bandits roam the trade routes, and the looming threat of foreign empires, like Assyria to the east, casts a shadow over even the brightest days. Yet, faith remains a cornerstone. In village squares, elders recount the stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, their voices rising and falling like a gentle tide. The people offer sacrifices, lambs or doves at local altars, seeking God's favor, though whispers of idolatry begin to creep in. A slow drift from the covenant that will soon bring consequences. Picture yourself walking among them, hearing the clink of pottery, the laughter of children, the low prayers offered at dusk. Life in the northern kingdom is vibrant, yet fragile, a delicate balance of devotion and disobedience. As the sun sets, casting golden light over the hills, you sense the weight of their choices, the path that will lead to their scattering. But for now, they live, work, and worship, their days a testament to both their strength and their vulnerability. As we leave the daily rhythms of the northern kingdom behind, let us turn to a pivotal moment in their history, a moment when one man's rebellion set the stage for their division and eventual exile. Let us explore the reign of Jeroboam, the king who fractured a nation. The reign of Jeroboam and the division of Israel. Imagine yourself standing in the bustling city of Samaria around 930 BCE, where the air hums with tension and the scent of cedar from newly built altars. The United Kingdom of Israel, once a beacon of strength under David and Solomon, has just splintered. The man at the heart of this fracture is Jeroboam, a figure whose ambition and choices would alter the destiny of the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom. His story is one of promise, rebellion, and a legacy that echoes through the centuries, setting the stage for the scattering of the lost tribes. Jeroboam, son of Nebat, was not born to royalty. A man of humble origins, He rose through the ranks as a capable overseer during Solomon's reign, managing labor for the king's grand projects, temples, palaces, and fortifications. The dust of construction sites clung to his robes, his days filled with the clatter of stone and the shouts of workers. Yet his competence caught the eye of the prophet Ahijah, who delivered a divine message. God would tear 10 tribes from Solomon's line and give them to Jeroboam to rule. The prophet, in a striking act, tore his cloak into 12 pieces, handing 10 to Jeroboam as a symbol of his future kingdom. Picture yourself there, watching the fabric tear, each rip a quiet promise of power and responsibility. But Solomon, sensing Jeroboam's rising influence, sought to kill him. Jeroboam fled to Egypt, biding his time under the protection of Pharaoh Shishak. The scent of the Nile, heavy with silt and reeds, surrounded him as he waited. When Solomon died, Jeroboam returned, his heart set on leadership. The people, burdened by heavy taxes and forced labor under Solomon's son Rehoboam, turned to Jeroboam for guidance. At a gathering in Shechem, they pleaded for lighter burdens. Rehoboam's harsh refusal, promising a yoke heavier than his father's, ignited rebellion. The 10 northern tribes crowned Jeroboam king, forming the northern kingdom of Israel, while Judah and Benjamin remained loyal to Rehoboam in the south. Jeroboam's reign began with promise, but fear soon took root. He worried that his people, traveling to Jerusalem in Judah for worship, would shift their loyalty back to Rehoboam. To secure his throne, he made a fateful choice. He crafted 2 golden calves, placing them in Bethel and Dan, declaring, "Here are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." Imagine yourself standing before one of these idols, the air thick with incense, the low chants of priests mingling with the bleating of sacrificial animals. The people, torn between tradition and convenience, began to drift from the covenant, their worship tainted by idolatry. Altars to foreign gods Baal and Osiris sprang up on hilltops. Their smoky offerings, a stark contrast to the pure worship God demanded. Jeroboam's decision was not just a political maneuver. It was a spiritual turning point. The northern kingdom's slide into idolatry deepened under his successors, each king following the sin of Jeroboam that led the people astray. The rhythm of their lives, once centered on God's law, now pulsed with compromise. Markets still thrived. Farmers still tilled the soil. But the spiritual fracture grew. Prophets like Elijah and Elisha would later warn of consequences, their voices cutting through the clamor of daily life like a distant storm. Jeroboam ruled for 22 years, his legacy a kingdom both vibrant and vulnerable, teetering on the edge of divine judgment. Picture yourself walking away from Samaria's gates, the city's noise fading as you reflect on Jeroboam's choices. His ambition secured a kingdom, but at a cost his people's hearts strayed, setting them on a path toward exile. The division he cemented would define the northern kingdom's fate, leading to the scattering of the 10 tribes. As the shadow of Jeroboam's reign lingers, let us turn to a mystery that has puzzled scholars and believers for centuries. What became of those 10 tribes after their kingdom fell? Let us explore the enigma of their exile and the clues left behind in the sands of history. The exile of the 10 tribes and their disappearance. Imagine yourself standing on the banks of the Habor River, in a distant corner of the Assyrian Empire. Around 722 BCE, the air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and the faint tang of smoke from far-off settlements. Before you, a weary procession of captives, men, women, and children from the northern kingdom of Israel trudge through unfamiliar lands, their footsteps muffled by dust. The 10 tribes, once rooted in the hills of Samaria, are now scattered, their identity slipping like sand through fingers. This is the moment when the tribes of Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, and Manasseh became known as the lost tribes of Israel. Their fate, one of the greatest mysteries in biblical history. The fall of the northern kingdom was no sudden calamity. For nearly 2 centuries after Jeroboam's reign, the tribes drifted further from God's covenant. Prophets like Hosea and Amos walked among them, their voices steady but urgent, warning of judgment. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, Hosea declared, his words echoing through marketplaces and village squares. Yet, the people clung to their golden calves and foreign altars, the rhythm of their lives now intertwined with idolatry. The Assyrians, a rising power with cities of stone and armies that shook the earth, saw their chance. In 722 BCE, under King Shalmaneser V and his successor Sargon II, they swept through the northern kingdom like a relentless tide. Picture yourself watching as Samaria, the capital, falls after a 3-year siege. The city's walls, once proud, crumble under the weight of Assyrian battering rams. Families are torn from their homes, their clay lamps and woven baskets left behind. The Bible tells us the king of Assyria deported Israel to Assyria and settled them in Hala, in Gozan on the Habor River, and in the towns of the Medes. These places were far from the olive groves and vineyards of their homeland, scattered across a vast empire stretching from modern-day Iraq to Iran. The journey was grueling, the air thick with the dust of marching feet and the quiet murmurs of despair. Some were settled in bustling cities, others in remote villages, their lives now a faint echo of what they once knew. What makes this exile a mystery is not just the scattering, but the blurring of their identity. The Assyrians had a deliberate policy. They dispersed conquered peoples, mixing them with other captives to erode their sense of nationhood. The 10 tribes were no exception. Over time, their distinct tribal names, Reuben, Dan, Ephraim, faded from records. They intermingled with local populations, their customs blending with those of their captors. Yet, whispers of their heritage persisted. Some clung to the Sabbath, to circumcision, to stories of a distant promised land, even as their language and lineage grew faint. Imagine yourself hearing a mother in a quiet moment recounting to her child the tale of Jacob wrestling with God. Her voice, a fragile thread connecting past to present. Scholars puzzle over what became of them. But the tribe's fate grows murky beyond that. Jewish tradition holds that they were not truly lost scattered. Yes, but preserved by God for a future purpose. Some stories speak of them dwelling beyond a mythical river, the Sambation, waiting for the day of return. Others suggest they migrated further to lands as distant as India or Ethiopia, carrying fragments of their faith. The mystery lies in this tension. Were they absorbed entirely? Or do their descendants still walk among us, their identity hidden but not erased? Picture yourself standing at the edge of this mystery, the river's gentle flow, a reminder of time's passage. The 10 tribes, once vibrant, now seem lost to history. Yet the Bible hints at their returner, promise woven into prophecy. Their exile was not the end, but a pause in a larger story, one that continues to unfold. As we leave the shadows of exile behind, let us turn to a group who claims to carry the legacy of one of these tribes. Across the centuries in the highlands of Ethiopia, the Beta Israel have preserved ancient customs. Daily life immersion. The Beta Israel of India and their claim to Ephraim. Imagine yourself walking through a coastal village in western India, perhaps near Mumbai, in the 18th century. The air is thick with a scent of salt from the Arabian Sea, mingled with the warm aroma of spices, turmeric, cumin, and cardamom wafting from open kitchens. This is the world of the Beta Israel, a community who believe they are descendants of the tribe of Ephraim, one of the lost tribes of Israel. Their daily lives, shaped by the rhythms of the land and their ancient heritage, offer a glimpse into a people who have preserved their identity through centuries of isolation. The Beta Israel live in simple homes of mud and thatch, their villages nestled among coconut groves and rice paddies. Each morning begins with a soft clatter of daily tasks. Women grind millet or wheat on stone querns, their hands moving in a steady rhythm as they prepare flatbreads called bakri. Men set out to fish in wooden boats or tend small plots of land, their nets heavy with the day's catch, or their baskets filled with mangoes and bananas. Children play in the shade of banyan trees, their laughter mingling with the calls of men birds. The community is small, their lives intertwined with their Hindu and Muslim neighbors, yet distinct in their customs, which they trace back to a shipwreck that brought their ancestors to these shores. Perhaps fleeing the Assyrian exile of 722 BCE, their oral tradition tells of 7 couples who survived a shipwreck, washing ashore on India's Konkan coast. Picture yourself standing on that rocky shore, the waves lapping at your feet as these survivors, clinging to fragments of their faith, begin anew. They carried with them practices that set them apart, observing the Sabbath when work ceases and families gather for quiet prayer, circumcising their sons on the 8th day, a covenant unbroken, and avoiding foods deemed unclean like pork or shellfish in a land where such restrictions were rare. Their diet blends Israelite roots with local flavors, lentil curries, spiced fish, and coconut milk served on banana leaves. They call themselves Beta Israel, children of Israel, a name that echoes their belief in descent from Ephraim, a tribe blessed with fruitfulness by Jacob in Genesis 48. Faith is the heartbeat of their lives. Imagine yourself entering a Beta Israel synagogue, a modest structure with whitewashed walls and wooden benches. The community gathers to recite prayers in Hebrew, though their knowledge of the language has faded over centuries. They chant from memory, their melodies soft and haunting, drawn from the Torah scrolls they preserve with care. Festivals like Passover and Yom Kippur are marked with solemnity, the air filled with the scent of oil lamps and the murmur of blessings. Yet, their isolation from the broader Jewish world has shaped a unique identity. They adopted local customs, like wearing saris and speaking Marathi, yet clung to their Jewish practices, a delicate balance in a land of many faiths. Life was not without struggle. The Beta Israel faced the constant challenge of maintaining their distinct identity in a diverse society. Monsoons could flood their fields, leaving families to rely on stored grains. Tensions with neighboring communities, though rare, required careful diplomacy. Yet, their resilience shone through. Elders passed down stories of their origins, of a homeland across the sea, keeping the flame of their heritage alive. In the 19th and 20th centuries, contact with global Jewish communities revived their practices, and some began to emigrate to Israel, their arrival a modern echo of the prophesied regathering of the tribes. Picture yourself sitting with a Beta Israel family at dusk, the sky painted with hues of orange and purple. They share stories of Ephraim, of a people chosen yet scattered, their lives a testament to survival and faith. Their claim to the lost tribe of Ephraim, though debated by scholars, is a living bridge between ancient Israel and the present, a reminder that the rhythm of their lives carries the weight of prophecy. As we leave the shores of India, let us journey to the rugged mountains of Afghanistan and Pakistan, where another people, the Pashtun, claim descent from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. Their customs and traditions offer another layer to the mystery of the lost tribes. The Pashtun of Afghanistan and Pakistan and their claim to Ephraim and Manasseh. Imagine yourself standing on a wind-swept plateau in the rugged mountains of Afghanistan, where the air carries the sharp scent of pine and the faint smoke of cooking fires. It is the 19th century, and the Pashtun people, known for their fierce independence and ancient traditions, move through their daily lives in villages of stone and mud brick. Numbering in the millions, they stretch across the borderlands of Afghanistan and Pakistan. Their culture vibrant with customs that echo the distant past. Among their oral traditions is a remarkable claim. They are descendants of the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, sons of Joseph, two of the lost tribes of Israel scattered by the Assyrian conquest. Their story is one of enduring heritage, woven into the rhythm of their lives amidst a harsh and unforgiving landscape. The Pashtun live by a code called Pashtunwali, a way of life that governs honor, hospitality, and kinship. Their days begin with a call to prayer, the sound rising over villages nestled in valleys or perched on rocky slopes. Men, often clad in loose tunics and turbans, tend to herds of goats or sheep, their staffs tapping against stone paths as they guide animals to sparse grazing lands. Women prepare meals in communal courtyards, the aroma of flatbread baking on hot stones mingling with the tang of yogurt and spiced meat. Children learn early to respect tribal elders, sitting cross-legged as stories of their origins are shared. Tales that call them Bani Israel, or children of Israel, linking their lineage to the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, blessed with leadership and abundance in Genesis 48. Picture yourself in a Pashtun village, the air alive with the clatter of daily life. Their customs bear striking resemblances to ancient Israelite practices, preserved despite centuries of isolation. They practice circumcision on the 8th day, a ritual rare in their region, but central to the covenant of Abraham. Their dietary habits avoid pork, and some tribes observe a day of rest, reminiscent of the Sabbath. Though adapted to their Islamic faith, tribal names like Rabbani, Lavani, and Yusefzai echo the names of Israelite tribes Reuben, Levi, and Joseph, hinting at a deep-rooted connection. Their oral traditions speak of a migration from the Holy Land, perhaps after the Assyrian exile of 722 BCE, a journey that brought their ancestors across deserts and mountains to these lands. The Pashtuns' lives are shaped by their environment, a constant struggle against arid soils and tribal conflicts. Markets bustle with trade wool, dried fruits, and intricately woven carpets, but the threat of raids or feuds looms. Resolved through councils of elders under Pashtun Wali's code, their homes fortified against both weather and enemies are adorned with simple patterns, their hearths warmed by fires that burn through cold nights. Yet, amidst these challenges, their sense of identity remains strong. Elders recount genealogies that stretch back to Israel, their voices steady as they describe ancestors who carried the Torah's teachings. Even as they adopted the dominant faith of their region over time. Scholars debate the Pashtuns' claim to Israelite descent. Some point to their customs and tribal names as compelling evidence, while others see their traditions as cultural parallels rather than direct lineage. Recent genetic studies have found no conclusive link, yet the persistence of their oral history, passed down through generations in a culture that reveres storytelling, lends weight to their narrative. Imagine yourself sitting by a fire, listening as a Pashtun elder traces his tribe's path from the promised land, the stars above mirroring the vastness of their story. Their claim, whether historical or symbolic, speaks to a longing for connection to an ancient promise. In modern times, the Pashtun remain a significant presence, their millions spread across a volatile region. Some have begun to explore their possible Jewish roots, though their integration into Islamic culture makes formal recognition by Israel complex. Yet, their story adds a profound layer to the mystery of the lost tribes, suggesting that fragments of Israel's heritage may endure in the most unexpected places. As we leave the mountains of the Pashtun, let us turn to another people whose claim to Israelite descent stirs intrigue. In Nigeria, the Igbo assert a connection to the tribes of Gad and Zebulun. There lives a vibrant blend of African and Israelite traditions. Let us explore their world and their place in this unfolding prophecy. The Igbo of Nigeria and their claim to Gad and Zebulun. Imagine yourself in a bustling Igbo village in southeastern Nigeria, where the humid air carries the scent of palm oil, and the rhythmic beat of drums echoes through the marketplace. It is the early 20th century, and the Igbo people, a vibrant community known for their rich cultural traditions, live in close-knit compounds of mud brick homes surrounded by yam fields and banana groves. Among their stories, passed down through generations, is a remarkable claim. They are descendants of the tribes of Gad and Zebulun, two of the lost tribes of Israel scattered by the Assyrian conquest. Their social structure and customs, deeply rooted in community and tradition, offer a window into a people who have preserved echoes of an ancient heritage amidst the rhythm of their lives. The Igbo society is built on kinship, with extended families living together in compounds centered around a shared courtyard. Picture yourself walking through one such compound, where the air is alive with the chatter of women preparing egusi soup, the nutty aroma blending with the earthy scent of freshly harvested yams. Men, often farmers or traders, return from fields or markets, their baskets heavy with produce or goods traded for cowrie shells. Children play under the shade of palm trees, learning proverbs and stories from elders that shape their sense of identity. The Igbo are organized into clans, each led by titled elders or chiefs, whose authority is earned through wisdom and community service. This structure, with its emphasis on collective responsibility, mirrors the tribal cohesion of ancient Israel. Their claim to descent from Gad and Zebulun is woven into their oral traditions, which speak of ancestors who migrated from a distant land. Possibly after the Assyrian exile of 722 BCE, imagine yourself sitting in a village meeting, the air warm and still, as an elder recounts tales of a people chosen by God, their journey marked by trials across deserts and rivers. The Igbo practice customs that resonate with Israelite traditions. Circumcision on the 8th day, a rarity in their region. Dietary restrictions that avoid certain foods, like pork, and festivals that echo biblical feasts, such as harvest celebrations, reminiscent of Suk. Their reverence for a supreme deity, Chukwu, aligns with a monotheistic worldview. Though blended with local beliefs over time, the Igbo social life is vibrant, centered on markets where traders barter for kola nuts, cloth and iron tools, and festivals where masquerades dance to the beat of wooden gongs. Yet, their history has been marked by struggle. The tropical climate brings both abundance and challenges. Malaria and other diseases sweep through villages, claiming lives too soon, while colonial pressures in the 19th and 20th centuries disrupted traditional ways. Despite these hardships, the Igbo's sense of identity as a distinct people endures. Their claim to Israelite descent is reinforced by names like Yuva and practices like bride price, which some scholars compare to biblical customs. In recent decades, many Igbo have embraced Judaism more formally, studying Torah and building synagogues of simple brick, their prayers rising in Hebrew and Igbo. Picture yourself in one such synagogue, the air filled with the soft hum of psalms as the community seeks to reconnect with their heritage. Some have immigrated to Israel, though their claim to Gad and Zebulun remains debated by rabbinic authorities, who require formal conversion for recognition. The Igbo's story, whether rooted in historical migration or cultural resonance, speaks to a profound longing for connection to the ancient tribes, a thread in the larger tapestry of the lost tribes' return. The Igbo's social structure, with its emphasis on community, tradition, and resilience, reflects the strength of a people who have carried their identity through centuries of change. Their claim to Israelite descent, though not universally accepted, adds a vibrant layer to the mystery of the lost tribes, suggesting that their legacy may pulse in the heart of Africa. As we leave the vibrant compounds of the Igbo, let us journey to southern Africa, where the Lemba people claim descent from the tribe of Levi. Their unique traditions and a surprising genetic clue deepen the enigma of the lost tribes. The Lemba of Zimbabwe and South Africa and their claim to Levi. Imagine yourself standing in a Lemba village in Zimbabwe, where the air is warm with the scent of acacia trees and the soft crackle of fires burning low. It is the late 20th century, and the Lemba people, a small but resilient community spread across Zimbabwe and South Africa, move through their days with a quiet dignity. Their oral traditions proclaim them descendants of the tribe of Levi, the priestly tribe of ancient Israel, scattered during the Assyrian exile of 722 BCE. Their customs, combined with a remarkable genetic discovery, weave a compelling thread in the story of the lost tribes. There lives a testament to a heritage preserved across continents and centuries. The Lemba live in modest homes of mud and thatch, their villages nestled among rolling hills or near the Limpopo River. The rhythm of their lives is shaped by the landmen tend cattle or cultivate maize and sorghum, their hands steady on wooden plows, while women prepare meals of satsa, a thick maize porridge flavored with wild greens or goat stew. The air carries the faint temps of roasted peanuts and the hum of communal songs during harvest. Children gather around elders who share stories of a journey from a place called Senna, far to the north, possibly in Yemen or the Horn of Africa, where their ancestors, they say, carried the laws of Moses. Picture yourself listening as an elder. His voice, steady, recounts their descent from Levi, the tribe tasked with priestly duties in ancient Israel. Their customs are striking in their similarity to Israelite practices. The Lemba practice circumcision, often on the 8th day, a ritual that sets them apart in their region. They observe dietary laws, avoiding pork and other forbidden foods. Their meals prepared with care to honor ancestral traditions. They keep a day of rest, reminiscent of the Sabbath, when villages grow quiet, the air filled with soft prayers. Their marriage customs include endogamy, marrying within the community to preserve their identity, a practice echoing the Levites' role as a distinct priestly class. Funerals are marked by rituals of purification, with mourners washing before rejoining the community, a faint echo of biblical purity laws. What makes the Lemba's claim extraordinary is a modern discovery: genetic evidence. In the 1990s, DNA studies revealed that a significant portion of Lemba men carry the Cohen modal haplotype, a genetic marker associated with the priestly line of Aaron, brother of Moses and progenitor of many Levites. Imagine yourself in a Lemba village as researchers, with their strange tools, collect samples. Their findings a bridge between ancient texts and modern science. This marker, found in high frequency among the Lemba's priestly clans, suggests a Middle Eastern origin, lending weight to their oral tradition of a migration from the Holy Land, perhaps via trade routes across the Red Sea to Africa. Yet, their lives have not been without struggle. The Lemba faced marginalization from neighboring groups and colonial powers, their distinct practices viewed with suspicion. Droughts and political upheaval in Zimbabwe and South Africa tested their resilience, yet their faith endured. They maintain no formal synagogues, but gather under trees or in homes for prayer. Their rituals blending Israelite echoes with African traditions. Picture yourself at one such gathering, the air warm with the scent of burning wood, as a Lemba priest recites blessings, his words carrying the weight of centuries. In recent years, some Lemba have embraced Judaism more formally, studying Torah and connecting with global Jewish communities. Their claim to Levi's legacy, though not universally recognized by rabbinic authorities, is a powerful testament to the endurance of identity. The genetic evidence, while not conclusive proof, adds a layer of intrigue, suggesting that the priestly line of Levi may have found refuge in the heart of Africa. Their story, a quiet pulse in the prophecy of the lost tribe's return. Leaving the Lemba villages, let's reflect on ancient Israel's Elitha priests, prophets, and kings who influence the northern kingdom. Their influence and their failures set the stage for the tribe's scattering and the hope of their return. Elite of the northern kingdom, priests, prophets, and kings. Imagine yourself standing in the heart of Samaria, the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel. Around 800 BCE, the air is thick with the scent of cedar from royal halls and the faint smoke of sacrificial altars. This is a city of power where the elite priests, prophets, and kings shape the destiny of the 10 tribes: Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, and Manasseh. Their influence weaves through the rhythm of the people's lives, guiding worship, issuing judgments, and steering the kingdom toward glory or ruin. Yet, their failures, rooted in ambition and disobedience, set the stage for the tribe's scattering, a shadow that looms over their legacy. The kings of the northern kingdom, beginning with Jeroboam, hold sway from palaces of stone and timber, their courtyards bustling with advisors and emissaries. Picture yourself walking past guards in bronze armor, their spears glinting in the sun as you enter a royal hall. The king, adorned in robes, dyed with costly purple, oversees trade with Phoenicia and taxes on olive oil and grain. But power is precarious. Unlike Judah's stable Davidic line, the northern kingdom sees dynasties rise and fall through betrayal and bloodshed, lives cut short in coups as one king replaces another. Jeroboam's golden calves, erected to secure his throne, cast a long shadow, leading the people toward idolatry. Later kings, like Ahab, deepened this drift, building altars to Baal. Their decisions, a stark contrast to the covenant their ancestors swore to uphold. The priests, tasked with guiding worship, are meant to be the spiritual heart of the kingdom. Descended from Levi, they serve at altars in Bethel and Dan, where the air is heavy with the scent of burning incense and roasted offerings. But many stray from their calling. Imagine yourself standing before an altar, watching a priest in linen robes offer sacrifices to a golden calf, his chants mingling with the bleating of lambs. These priests, appointed by kings rather than God, lead the people astray. Their rituals, a hollow echo of the temple worship in Jerusalem. The Levites, once set apart for holy service, are marginalized, some fleeing to Judah to preserve their calling. The spiritual fracture grows, the rhythm of worship disrupted by compromise. Prophets, however, stand as voices of truth amidst the decay. Figures like Elijah and Elisha walk the hills and villages, their cloaks dusty from travel, their words sharp yet steady. Picture yourself by a stream, hearing Elijah challenge Ahab's idolatry on Mount Carmel, his voice rising above the wind as he calls down fire from heaven. Elisha, his successor, heals the sick and feeds the hungry, his miracles a reminder of God's presence. Yet, their warnings Hosea's cry that Israel has forgotten their maker. Amos's plea for justice grew, largely unheeded. The prophets speak of exile, of a people scattered to distant lands, but the elite, ensconced in their power, turn away. The constant struggle to realign the kingdom with God's covenant fails, and the shadow of Assyria looms ever closer. The elite's influence ripples through society. Kings tax the people heavily, their wealth displayed in ivory-inlaid furniture and chariots, while farmers toil to meet demands. Priests, corrupted by royal favor, lead festivals that blend pagan rites with Israelite traditions. The air filled with the clash of symbols and the scent of forbidden offerings. Prophets, though revered, are often outcasts. Their messages, a burden to a kingdom chasing prosperity over piety. The northern kingdom's vibrancy, its terraced vineyards, masks a deeper fracture, one that will lead to its fall in 722 BCE, when Assyrian armies sweep through, scattering the tribes. Imagine yourself leaving Samaria's gates, the city's splendor fading as you reflect on the elite's role. Their ambition and disobedience paved the way for exile. Yet their story holds a promise of a time when the scattered tribes will be regathered, their purpose restored under a greater king. Beyond the northern kingdom's history, biblical prophecies offer hope of regathering the lost tribes and fulfilling ancient promises in the end times. The regathering of the lost tribes and end-time significance. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet hilltop. The world hushed beneath a starlit sky as you ponder a promise that spans millennia. The 10 tribes of Israel, Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, and Manasseh scattered by the Assyrian conquest in 722 BCE, seem lost to history, their identities blurred across distant lands. Yet the Bible speaks of a future where these tribes are not forgotten, but regathered, their return a cornerstone of God's plan for the end times. These prophecies, woven through the words of Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Revelation, offer a vision of restoration, a rhythm of hope that pulses through the ages, connecting the ancient exile to a future fulfillment. The prophets of Israel, their voices steady across centuries, foretold this regathering with vivid imagery. In Ezekiel 37, the prophet stands in a valley filled with dry bones. A stark tableau of a people scattered and lifeless. Picture yourself there, the air still, as Ezekiel hears God's command, "I will put breath in you, and you will come to life." The bones rattle, sinews form, and a nation rises, symbolizing the restoration of Israel, both Judah and the 10 tribes. God declares, "I will make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel." They will never again be 2 nations or be divided into 2 kingdoms. This vision speaks of a unified Israel, the lost tribes rejoined with Judah under one king. A promise of healing after centuries of division. Isaiah 2 paints a picture of this return. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. Imagine yourself seeing this banner, its colors vivid against the horizon, calling the tribes from every corner, Ethiopia, India, Afghanistan, and beyond. This prophecy is not merely about the return from Babylonian exile, which involved primarily Judah, but a greater global regathering. The phrase "four quarters of the earth" suggests a scope that includes the 10 tribes dispersed across the Assyrian Empire and beyond. Their descendants, perhaps among groups like the Beta Israel, Pashtun, Igbo, and Lemba. In the New Testament, the book of Revelation adds a final layer to this promise. In Revelation 7:2-4, John hears of 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel, sealed for protection during the Great Tribulation 12,000 from each tribe, including those long thought lost. Picture yourself witnessing this moment. The tribes named one by one, their identities restored in a divine act of remembrance. This passage affirms that the lost tribes, though scattered, remain part of God's plan. Their role in the end times, a testament to His faithfulness. The number, whether literal or symbolic, points to a complete restoration, a fulfillment of the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The regathering is more than a historical event. The prophets link it to the Messianic age, when a king from David's line will rule a unified Israel. They will live in the land I gave to my servant Jacob. I will make a covenant of peace with them. It will be an everlasting covenant. This promise resonates with the return of groups like the Beta Israel, airlifted to Israel in the 20th century, and the Beta Israel, who have joined the modern nation. Imagine yourself in Jerusalem today, watching these communities, their traditions blending with those of Judah, a living echo of prophecy unfolding. Yet, the full regathering awaits, a moment when all tribes, known and unknown, will stand together under the Messiah's reign. The significance of this prophecy lies in its assurance. God's promises endure, despite rebellion. The response was cut off due to reaching a length or processing limit. But I can continue from where it left off to complete segment 10 and provide the conclusion, maintaining the same tone, style, and structure as requested. Below, I'll pick up the narrative seamlessly and finish the script. An exile, the tribes are not forgotten. Their scattering was a consequence of disobedience, but their return is a testament to grace. The modern claims of groups like the Pashtun, Igbo, and Lemba, whether fully verifiable or not, reflect a longing for this restoration, a stirring of identity that aligns with the biblical vision. The rhythm of their lives, marked by ancient customs, preserved in distant lands, suggests that the threads of Israel's heritage remain, waiting to be woven back into the tapestry of God's people. Picture yourself reflecting on this promise as the stars above seem to whisper of a coming day. The regathering of the lost tribes is not just a historical curiosity. It is a signpost of the end times, a moment when the scattered will be called home, their purpose renewed. The Bible assures us that this act will be supernatural, fulfilling the words of the prophets and preparing the way for the Messiah's reign. Reflecting on our journey from the northern kingdom's hills to the diaspora of its tribes, let us conclude with quiet contemplation, connecting this story to the present. Imagine yourself resting now, the weight of the day fading as you sit beneath a quiet sky, the gentle hum of the world around you. We've journeyed through the ancient hills of Israel, where the 10 tribes lived, loved, and faltered, their lives a rhythm of devotion and struggle. We've traced their scattering by the Assyrian conquest, their identities blurring across time, yet never fully lost. From the highlands of Ethiopia to the coasts of India, the mountains of Afghanistan to the villages of Nigeria and Zimbabwe, we've met peoples who claim descent from these tribes. Beta Israel, Israel, Pashtun, Igbo, and Lembaj, preserving fragments of an ancient heritage. Their stories, whether rooted in history or hope, echo the prophecies of Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Revelation, which promise a regathering, a restoration under one king. The story of the lost tribes is one of mystery and endurance, a reminder that even in exile, God's promises hold fast. The rhythm of their lives, scattered across the earth, pulses with the hope of return, a hope that speaks to us even now. As you rest tonight, picture yourself in the comfort of the present, far from the dust of ancient Samaria or the trials of distant exiles. The past, with its struggles and prophecies, fades into the quiet assurance of this moment. Let the story of the tribes linger as a gentle whisper, carrying you toward peace, toward sleep, as the stars keep watch above. Imagine yourself drifting now, the world soft and still, as the story of the lost tribes settles gently in your mind. The 10 tribes of Israel, scattered across the earth, carried their faith through centuries, their lives a quiet testament to an enduring promise. From the olive groves of Samaria to the distant villages of Ethiopia, India, Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, their descendants, real or claimed, have woven their heritage into the rhythm of their lives. The prophecies of their return, spoken by Ezekiel and Isaiah, linger like a melody, a reminder that what was lost can be found, that what was broken can be restored. Rest now, letting history's burdens fade, ancient struggles, exile, and the hope of return dissolve into the present calm. Envision the night's gentle hum embracing you. The story of the lost tribes, a whisper of hope, carries you toward sleep and dreams as the world quietly turns